This is another social break question. Anna says some stuff here that I'm going to respond to. Nothing too drastic, but.
K-Dragon Battling for Truth and Justice wrote this in before the last segment, said, I hate the fact that Cenk and Ana are always having to defend what they have said on the show. I can't remember anything they've said that didn't come to pass, for the most part, exactly as they said. The extreme left is most culpable in this from what I have seen.
Can I just say one thing real quick to our audience? I hope you guys know, and maybe it doesn't come through, but I respect you guys deeply. And I respect you so much that, as Cenk said, I am really hard on myself because I want to make sure I get you guys accurate information and I want to make sure that my analysis is on point, even though I might get things wrong, right? But I'm never going to say something spicy on the show that doesn't have evidence behind it. I show my receipts for a reason and I tell you the truth because I respect you. I would never lie to you. I think people who do lie to their audiences don't respect their audiences at all.
A couple of folks.
Cenk says I can think of a couple of folks.
At all. A couple of folks. Okay, Semper Fire.
All right.
Never lie to you. I think people who do lie to their audiences don't respect their audiences.
That's true. A worker from the TYT company is making a documentary called Tell the Truth, Cenk, about lies that Cenk and Ana spread about their own workers. We'll go real quick over here. This is the part of the my post baldontheinside.substack.com titled 2 Versions, 1 Truth, Evidence for My Claims About the Young Turks. Start with the 4 articles. That's a great starting point if you're curious. That's good place to go. That's not me for information, but here's TYT's version. I tried to be very fair and plain with how I presented this stuff. They put out this narrative that the union originated as a ploy to harm Cenk's campaign. And here's how Ana participated in this. She retweeted Cenk's tweet, and she wrote here, as an employee of TYT who is not part of management and not involved in the business side, I'm the EP of the main show, meaning I have editorial say. I feel extremely uncomfortable with IATSE's endorsement of Cenk's congressional opponent who does not share our progressive values. This was signal boosting, union busting by Cenk. She then wrote, while I'm personally supportive of unions, this feels like it's done in bad faith. The fact that this all blew up on the day of Cenk's debate is also extremely suspicious, suggesting that the debate that was going to happen that night, this candidate forum at the CSUN, California State University, so I think that's what it is, sorry, that it was going to, the union busting was going to be brought up to confront Cenk, and that would be the fulfillment of this plot or some sort. That's what, like, oh, they brought it up on the day of the forum. That means they're going to try to use it to cudgel him. They didn't bring it up. They didn't bring it up at all. I wish they had. I think it would have been interesting. So she says she's personally supportive of unions, which means, however, this one she's not supportive of. She wasn't supportive of the union at the company, of people that she's known for years, people whose labor and talent and time were the foundation for her wealth and her success. And she didn't do any fact checking. She never checked with me, and I checked with other of my sources, and as far as I've been able to assess, nobody checked with anybody who had actually started the union about when it actually started. They didn't stop to look up to confirm the most confirmable story in journalism history, where all you had to do was talk to people that were 20 feet away or send me a DM, and you would have known the truth before this lie got told. That might have put you in an awkward position, I don't know. I think that Ana was under tremendous scrutiny and taking a ton of incoming fire as her prominent role in this campaign. She had to do those pretend interviews with her boss, acting like she's inviting him onto the show, saying, welcome to the show, candidate Cenk Uygur. There's a sequence in the film that's about that. He joins Ana to debrief the audience on just what the heck happened. But don't worry.
Like, this is not like one of those cheesy, like, here with us now is congressional candidate for California's 25th district, Cenk Uygur. Thank you for joining us, Cenk.
Why? Are you saying we did that before?
Joining me now is candidate for California's 25th district congressional seat, Cenk Uygur.
Welcome, Ana. Thank you.
I'm welcoming you.
That's right.
He's a guest on this show.
All right.
Joining us now is congressional candidate for California's 25th district, Cenk Uygur.
Hey, Anna, how you doing?
Hey, Cenk, what's up?
Lots of good stuff.
Joining us now is congressional candidate for California's 25th district, Cenk Uygur. Cenk, welcome back.
All right, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. A congressional candidate for California's 25th district, Cenk Uygur. Cenk, welcome back on the show.
Thank you.
So, yeah, because we had to legally. But anyway.
Yes. Okay.
They did it for legal reasons.
See a church.
I think that she was loyal to Cenk, and I think she trusted her source. That's where I'm coming down on this. I don't think necessarily she wanted to set out to harm people at her company, but she trusted someone that took advantage of her loyalty. Here's a tweet from her at the time that said, "This is completely wrong," this tweet. She says, "The only thing I can say as a worker, me and several of my colleagues knew nothing about this union until this week. That's because we kept it secret, because we were afraid that Cenk would retaliate against us for starting a union at his company, which we were correct to have done because he withheld raises and bonuses. He smeared workers publicly. He fired a unionizing worker. He did do retaliation during the union busting as a candidate for Congress."
I'm Cenk Uygur, and yeah, this C is pronounced like a J. I'm new to politics. 45,000 people a year die because they don't have health insurance. We're on a rescue mission. How hard would you run to save those lives? Picture them. 45,000 people. We are failing our homeless. Housing prices are sky high. So what do we do when someone falls on hard times and can't afford to live? Vote for me, and I'll never let anyone put the working class at the bottom of the list again. I'm Cenk Uygur, and I approve this ad because I'm going to fight for the Antelope Valley and for you.
So we did it in secret because we knew Cenk. People, if anybody knows someone, it's their employees. You know what I mean? Like whatever some fan out there thinks how well they know Cenk, believe me, the fucking video editors know the guy far better than anybody else. Especially the video editors, because you're just like marinating in everything they say over and over and over. Not that you do it every single clip or something, but employees of a place know who their boss is, right? So to continue her tweet, I have this highlighted in yellow. They claim they're representing the will of the majority of TYT employees, including producers. That claim was never made. I don't know where she got that information. Literally impossible. IATSE doesn't represent producers. IATSE represents stage, post crew, and stage crew. So video editors, tech, just as Cenk said here, editors, graphics, and studio technicians. So she spread it. So this is a reply to somebody. It's not like this got out 5 retweets, 65 likes. Not like this. This is like a major plank of it. But clearly she was getting information from somewhere that was not giving her accurate information at all. So for her to come on air and say stuff like this.
Because I want to make sure I get you guys accurate information, and I want to make sure that my analysis is on point, even though I might get things wrong, right? But I'm never going to say something spicy on the show that doesn't have evidence behind it. I show my receipts.
But to be fair, she didn't. Those were tweets. She didn't say it on the show. I don't know if she's ever spoken about it on TYT. She talked about it. I almost said spoked. She talked about it on the Nomiki Const show a good bit. I've played it in a couple of previous episodes. That's a fascinating part where she brings up the union busting and talks about it, and sort of she air quotes the phrase union busting.
It turned into a union busting story.
And then kind of lectures the left for going. Some people had gone with the story without checking with her and Cenk about what happened first.
But the problem that I had with the way that story played out and how it was perceived by people in indie media is that immediately, like, virtue signaling is real. It is real. And so immediately there were few people from indie journalism that I love and I have great respect for who felt the need to condemn Cenk publicly, right? Because it's the brand play, you know. Oh, I got to make sure that my brand among my leftist audience is squeaky clean. So that means immediately, without asking any questions,
right.
without looking into the story, I'm going to go ahead and condemn Cenk as a union buster, and that really infuriated me because, hey, how about hit him up? How about call me? How about ask a question
Ask
or
a
two?
question. That's right. That's it.
Right. Instead of like, really, you're going to believe the New York Times or CNN or whoever, like the same or media outlets that we're so critical of. You're going to trust them before you go ahead and ask someone you know personally a question or two before, you know, if you want to make a statement publicly, have at it. But like, that was the most painful part, right? And it was very isolating to go through that and see that happen.
Which really bothers me because it's like that's like the whole point of a major point of this whole project is about agency. I needed to take my own agency back because I felt very powerless working for Cenk as an independent contractor when I first decided I wanted to wake up the union drive, because the union had already started a year before. So 18 months before he became a congressperson or became a candidate. So there was stuff going on that needed to be addressed. And I used my agency because I felt so powerless that I needed to do something about it to try to wake up the union. And then it actually worked. I didn't know if it was going to work or not, but I knew I had to try. Then my classification gets changed to part-time while working for 40-hour weeks. Then Cenk becomes a congressman 5 or 6 months later in November. I keep saying congressman, I mean a candidate, a politician. And as part of his union busting while running for Congress, he's doing union busting, including lying about people, which Ana helped him do that. And so there's partly what this whole project is about agency. I'm using my agency to tell my story. And I'm hoping I'm honoring the story of the other workers too, because they're never going to be, it's not like every worker from the union is going to make a documentary describing what happened. So
for a reason, and I tell you the truth because I respect you.
And she said she had evidence. So yeah, that's right. So there was no evidence for those tweets. The thing they would point to is that IATSE had endorsed Christy Smith during that campaign. But that still means that it doesn't change the fact that the workers at TYT deserve better working conditions and had a right to collectively organize to try to get them. What does it got to do with anything? You know, IATSE having political connections, I don't like that at all either. I wish unions didn't do that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, we don't live in that world. It's going to be a long time before we do. We need stronger unions getting involved in more political activities, actually, until we can even get there. But that should have been, that might have been enough for suspicion. In other words, to say, well, wait a minute, we got to be very clear here. But it doesn't mean the next step after that should have been fact checking. Just because IATSE had endorsed Smith doesn't mean that makes that your hunch and that Cenk's narrative was absolutely true at all. It should have at least provoked you to go and then do some fact checking with the people who were in the union, or myself, because I had been fired, I'd been laid off, so I was available to talk. In which case, let's say if their version was true, a fact check conversation would have been like, "Hey, Hank, when did you guys start the union?" And I would have said, "Well, actually, it was like within a week after Cenk became a candidate, somebody got in touch with us and then wanted to have meetings and wanted us to unionize." Because we had our first meeting that same week, actually. We had scheduled it before, but our first meeting was that same week that Cenk became a candidate. So if she fact-checked it and their version was true, and I said, yeah, it was really weird. Like we had never done any unionizing until Cenk became, our boss Cenk became a candidate. And then and then we had meetings within like 3 days of him filing his paperwork to be a candidate. And that's why we started the union, was because some strangers contacted me and like that would have at least affirmed their narrative. And even if that is what happened, we still deserved our union. Still shouldn't have union busted, but that's not it. And by the way, the only way that works is that they start the union with the bet that the workers, that Cenk would reject it. The only way you can the only way for this plot, for the teeth of this bear trap to close properly, is if the fucking idiot says no to the union, which is an outrageous thing you'd predict. Nowadays, you wouldn't predict that. So it's just completely silly that as shaky as that is, it's not enough to stand on. Should have done some fact checking before helping Cenk smear all the other workers, the workers at the company.
I would never lie to you. I think people who do lie to their audiences don't respect their audiences.
Yep. Smash cut. Hansi asking Cenk if he's a union buster. No, I'm definitely not a union buster.
Are you a union buster?
No, I'm definitely not a union buster.
That's a lie. doesn't respect his audience. Confirmed.